Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of our summer reading. Today, we are going to travel to the deep ocean. Now, there is all sorts of different kinds of oceans. And there are deep sea, and then there are like shallower waters, and there's reefs, which is where all like the coral and things are, and all of these different places actually have different types of habitats under the water. So even though the ocean is one big habitat, inside of those are a bunch of different type of habitat systems that work differently for different types of animals. Because some of the seas, like over in the Arctic, those sea waters are much colder. That's where you find a lot of those animals that like the colder water, like the beluga whale. Or you have the seas that are off the coast of some of the islands like the Bahamas and Mexico and Florida. Those are warmer waters, and they have different types of animals that like the warmer water. So even though we're traveling to the ocean, we might learn a little bit different about the different things. So today we're going to read Somewhere in the Ocean. Let's see what we find. And this book is written by Jennifer Ward and T.J. Marsh. So it has 2 authors. Somewhere in the ocean where the warm waters run lived a mother manatee and her little calf, One. Oh boy, this sounds a lot similar to another one we had earlier. It says, "Nibble," said the mother. "I nibble," said the one. So they nibbled sea lettuce where the warm waters run. Somewhere in the ocean, in the waters clear and blue, lived a pod of orca whales, and their little calves too. "Splash," said the mama. "We splash," said the 2. So they jumped and they splashed in the water clear blue. Somewhere in the ocean, in a sea anemone, lived a mother clownfish and her baby fish 3. Do you guys know what a sea anemone is? So see this green part? It's actually not seaweed. It's an actual live animal that's kind of like a plant. And it's one of those ones that has, like, you see all the little pretty colors and they go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle like that. They look like plants, but they're actually, a lot of times, they're animals themselves. It says, "Nestle," said the mother. "We nestle," said the 3. So they nestled safe and snug in their sea anemone. Somewhere in the ocean, in a tide pool by the shore, lived a mother hermit crab and her baby crabs 4. "Dress," said the mother. "We dress," said the 4. So they tried on different shells in their tadpoles by the shore. Did you guys know that hermit crabs change their shells that they live in as they grow bigger? So see how the mama here is in a nice big one, and these little guys are trying to find different little shells. Well, as they get bigger, they'll crawl out of those and they'll go find another shell that's bigger because their shell doesn't grow with them when they grow. These are some of Mrs. V's favorite. Somewhere in the ocean, where the kelp forests thrive, lived a raft of a sea otter and their baby otters 5. "Munch," said the mothers. "We munch," said the 5. So they munched prickly yerkins where the kelp forest thrive. See how they're eating? Somewhere in the ocean where the seas and rivers mix, lived a mother tiger shark and her little pup 6. "Cruise," said their mother. "We cruise," said the 6. So they cruised and they hunted where the seas and the rivers mix. Somewhere in the ocean where the seagrass grows, so even lived a father seahorse and his wee babies 7. "Hold on," said the father. "We hold on," said the 7. So they held and they swayed where the seagrass grows so even. Do you see him holding on? Now, seahorses, the babies actually stay with the daddies and the mommies go and do the hunting. It's one of the very few animals that do that. Oh, these guys look like fun. Somewhere in the ocean where the water shimmers late lived a mother sea turtle, and her baby turtles ate. Paddle, said the mother. We paddle, said the eight. So they paddled in the moonlight where the water shimmers late. Somewhere in the ocean drifted slowly in a line lived a mother jellyfish, and her her baby jellies 9. Zap, said the mother. We zap, said the 9. So they zapped tasty tidbits as they drifted in a line. Oh, look at these little guys. Somewhere in the ocean in the coral reef den lived a mother octopus and her little babies 10. Squirt, said the mother. We squirt, said the 10. So they squirted and they played in their coral reef den. Now, do you guys know what they're doing? A lot of octopuses, they squirt this kind of black, like a cloud of stuff. And it makes it to where they can hide in it, and then they can scurry away if they have a predator coming after them. How fascinating. Even in our book, it talked about the different places the different animals lived, as well as some of them liked, remember, the warm water and the cold water, and some of them liked the water where the ocean and the rivers met together. That's pretty neat, huh? And we also talked about the reefs and the coral den. All the things that we talked about first were all in our book. So I want you to think about all the different animals that are in the sea. And I want you to think of a new sea creature that you could make up. And I want you to take a couple of the things that you know from the sea animals and mix them together. So go ahead and take your piece of paper out of your kit. You have got just a white, kind of an off-white colored piece of paper, and you should have a bunch of little pieces of paper all cut up. There's blue and orange and green and stuff. Okay, and what we're going to do is first I'm going to scoot this back here a minute so you can see better. We're going to use our glue stick. Now you can use glue, but we all know Mrs. V is impatient and doesn't like waiting for the glue to dry. So if you have glue at home, just use a little dab on each of your little pieces. So I've got some square pieces here, and I've got some triangle pieces, and I even have some circle pieces, and you guys should have a little bit of everything in your bag. And you should have a couple of googly eyes. You might have 1, you might have 3, you might have 2. Now you don't have to use all of your pieces. Now if you need more construction pieces, you're going to have to find some around the house and cut some just random shapes out of them, okay? Because we're going to make what's called a mosaic, where you use a bunch of little shapes of something. You put them together to make a new picture, okay? So I already started. So here's the start of my sea creature, okay? So so far, I'm going to make an octopus whale. That's what I'm going to go with. So I'm taking the things I know about an octopus and a whale, and I'm going to put them together. So far, I've got a big old fish, which is a whale, right? And I've got 3 tails. Okay, and I'm going to add a whole bunch of arms, and that's where my octopus part comes from. So I want you guys to think. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do like Mrs. V did, and I just started putting them all on here. I put a little glue here and put some of my pieces. I put a little glue here, and I put some pieces. Now, some of you might want to draw your picture first and then put your pieces on there, and that's fine. It's going to take you longer. But it's perfectly fine if you want to do it that way, especially if you're not quite sure how you want to do it. Mrs. V just kind of thought of 2 of a big animal and then a funny looking animal. And I figured, okay, a big animal is a nice big whale, right? It's one of the biggest things that's in the sea. That and sharks, right? So I thought about that. And then I thought, well, what else kind of looks fun? At first I thought of a crab. Then I thought of an octopus, and I thought of there's these weird seahorse, they're called sea dragons. They kind of look like seahorses, except they have they have these extra little limbs, but they don't really even do anything. They're just for show. They don't even use them to flap to swim. So they're not flippers or anything like that. So I kind of decided that I was going to do this, and who knows, maybe I'll add some, maybe when I put my octopus arms, maybe I'll add a little crabby claw at the end of them, and then it's an octopus, crab, whale. Who knows? So the great thing about this is it doesn't matter what your thing looks like. It's all about you. So you can do your paper this way, or you can do it this way, whichever way you want that you think your animal needs to fit on there, okay? So go ahead and grab your glue and get started. And I'm going to kind of finish mine up here. And again, I always kind of cheat a little bit and start ahead of you guys, so that way you're not waiting for me to do all of my pieces. Okay. Have any of you guys ever been to the ocean before? Now, I have lots of times, because Mrs. V actually grew up in California, and we went to the beach and the ocean a lot. And there's an aquarium. Do you guys know what that word means? An aquarium, yeah, is a big, pretty much a big fish tank, is the best way to describe it. Is a big fish tank that has, now if you have a piece and it's a little too big than what you want to do, you can fold it and you can rip it apart, or you can use if you have scissors, you're welcome to use scissors and make it different shape for you. But an aquarium is a big, like a big gigantic fish tank that has all sorts of different kinds of animals in it. Now, I know that you guys have seen Nemo, Finding Nemo, and Finding Dory, right? Okay, so Dory in that movie gets what? She goes to that rescue center, right? Well, that had a bunch of different displays that had animals, right? That had different sea animals. That is an aquarium. It's kind of like a zoo, except for animals. But a lot of times they're there to rescue them. Sometimes they're there to help them get better. And then if they can put them back out in the ocean, they do. And sometimes that's just where they end up being forever because they can't get any better. And that happens sometimes too. But Mrs. V used to always go to an aquarium when she used to live in California. And I really like sea animals. I think all the different animals that are in the sea, I think they're super cool. And it's just kind of neat. I like all kind of animals, don't get me wrong. I really do. But I think that the sea ones are just interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I got to find one more room for another leg. I guess we'll put it right here. See? Whatever we want to do, right? So the cool thing about this little project is you get to make it however you want. If you want your new sea creature to have 7 fins and no tail, or if you want it to have 3 tails, or if you want it to have a big belly, or if you want it to be really long and skinny like an eel, you know, that slithers through and hides in all the cracks and holes of and stuff, you can do that too. So you guys can do whatever you want to make yours. Now, Mrs. V's got some circles here. And I think I'm going to use my scissors that I happen to have here. So if you need your scissors, you might need to go get them. But I'm going to cut a little bit out of my circles to make them look, they kind of almost look like Pac-Man. But they're going to be some claws, because I really liked that idea of adding claws to the end of these guys, just because I happened to say it. I never thought of it until right now. So, well, let's put it here. And some of them might just have circles at the end because they're the little suction cups on the octopus. Remember, because the octopus has those little cuppies at the end of underneath their arms. Their tentacles is the right word for it. And that's what helps them grab onto things and stuff. Mrs. V's watched a TV show that taught about animals. And that and going to the aquariums and learning at school is where Mrs. V's learned some information about some animals. And I know you guys know a lot about animals because you guys have learned from the shows and stuff, and a lot of you guys know about like our ranch animals, our horses and our cows, and how to raise them and what they need to eat and all of those kind of things and what they like. You know, some of them need more water than others. Some of them like the hot air. You guys know all of that stuff from raising the animals, or you know that stuff from seeing it on a show or learning it at school. And as you guys get older, you guys get to take more classes that have to do with that. And it's just really cool that we have the chance to learn about animals, all sorts of kind of animals. You know, at our summer reading, we've traveled to all sorts of different habitats. This week we're at the ocean, you know, and I think it's pretty cool. So, are you ready to see my sea creature? Now, if you guys aren't done yet, please go ahead and pause your video. Just keep on going. But here is Mrs. V's finished sea creature. We have a whale octopus crab. Ta-da! Kind of silly, huh? But the crazy thing is there are some animals in the sea and in the ocean and everything that just look so weird. Like how I was talking about that sea dragon that looks like a seahorse, but it has extra little like arms, and at the end of the arms there's like, it's like a circle, but it doesn't really do anything because they don't move. They don't use them to swim with. Their little their fins and stuff, or their flippers that they use, are actually very, very tiny little thin pieces that goes along their back that they use really, really, really quick, and then like one that goes around their neck. They're the weirdest things ever, but they're really cool and something new. So take a picture of your guys' sea creature. Tell me all about it. Tell me what it's like. What animals did you use put together to create your sea creature? Until next time, see you later, guys. Bye.